Okay, call to order the July 15th Capital Region Land Bank meeting. I want to thank everyone for coming on this warm summer day. Appreciate your time. I had minutes go out from the executive director. I get a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those are approved. Joe, I see you. Could you illuminate our treasury report for July of 2025? Or as of June 30th, sir.
You have the report in front of you. What is not in the report is how much money we are making by the money market type things. For the past month, we made just over $4,000 in interest. And so far this year, we've made just under $28,000 in interest. So we keep on going at that. That's another house, basically, for what I'm going to do on that. I have nothing spectacular to point out for this, except we're spending money. Thought I wrote down a figure, but I don't see it.
And turns out making money at 20,000 interest. You're saying, Joe, that the income from interests is not captured in any of our.
Oh, no, it is captured, but it's not shown. It's captured when you look at the in our income figures in the balance, but it's not showing anywhere on the sheet.
And I apologize. I'm going to ask a question I should already know the answer to.
Actually, it is showing.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at it. I've noticed that it's showing on the profit and loss by class. It has investment earnings. And it's showing the amount that's coming in because that's coming in on the money market account.
Okay, there it is. Yeah, thanks.
And it shows on there.
I was
And-
surprised if it wasn't being shown, so
Yeah.
thank you.
It's not obvious. You really got to look for it. I noted that in the past month, we've spent over $360,000 in checks going out.
Well, I know that we've had a lot of pursuit, AIK, legacy, demos, right? You and I just signed a bunch of checks. So.
Yeah, and you can see that the executive director has given us a supplemental sheet, which shows us the status of all of the grants on the thing, and you can see where we are, what we have remaining. The one that is up, we're supposed to have the contract end at the end of this year. We only have $100,000 left in that, and that's our administrative activities. The first project grant we have out of $2.6 million. We only have $280,000 yet to spend by June of next year. And then in the big capital project account, which is up in April, we have 1.3 million yet to spend. But that's the current funding that we're working on. And as reported in one of the items that I had seen, we're approving applying for more funding. So if anybody has any questions on the finances, everything looks good. It looks like we're spending at a decent rate so that we're going to meet all of our deadlines.
Yeah, I think this is, thanks for bringing this up, Kristen, and articulating it, Joe, this matrix of what we have been allocated and what the expected spend is. I want to just kind of put that in context. We don't want to spend money to spend money. That's not what our modus operandi is. That's not how we've operated since inception. But we also want to show performance. And this is how the agencies who allocate the money see if we're effective. Do we have projects aligned to funds that we gave you, or are you just parking them, not parking, but not putting them in motion? And we have effectively put them in motion going back 10 years now. And we continue to do that. And it looks to me like even in Land Bank Capital and LB1, where our spend to date is 434, which is only 25% of the total, we've got allocations over here that are going to more than make up for where we need to be. And we've got until April of 26 to do that. So this effectively tells the story of effective leveling up of the investment capital that we've put into play. I think we've said often or in the past, we've said 10, 12, $13 million in investment has resulted in 100, 110, $140 million in developer activities in the field. And that continues to play out here. So well done to everyone who's been part of that.
If we have no questions,
Yeah, I was just hoping somebody could refresh my memory on the BCNI infill project.
Yes, so the BCNI infill project is, it's a two-phase. We did some pre-development on the first phase, which is a bunch of rehabs in Hamilton Hill along Germania Avenue. And the next phase, where we will likely allocate more funds to the project, is in its current iteration, they're looking at 4 parcels to develop 6 units. We will demolish probably 1 building or contribute to the demolition of 1 building. One of them is a vacant lot. Those 2 locations will get modular homes, and the other 2 will be rehabs. One, a 2-family converted to a single, and the other is a 2-family rehab. And those are all directly behind and at the entrance to the Mosaic Apartments on Crane Street. So it will really change how that block and the entrance feels. It's a very exciting project.
Yeah, it's a big deal, right? It's a big lift, complete revitalization to that whole sector.
Small project with really big impact.
Yeah.
so I'll move the acceptance of the treasurer's
Can I
report.
get a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor to give us an aye.
Aye.
Treasurer report is moved. Kristen?
All right.
I know you and I met, but why don't you lead the way on executive director's report for the month?
Okay. Joe did an excellent job going over grants, but if anybody has questions about that, I would happily take those. We are, kind of approaching that 75% sweet spot of spending down our program funds that will allow us to apply for the next open round, which was announced on the 7th of this month. Applications aren't due until November 21st, but I anticipate our application will be in well ahead of that. And just to give an overview of how those funds are looking, there is $9.5 million for our sort of standard land bank activities, acquisition, stabilization, rehab, demolition. And then there is $15.5 million for what they're calling property services. The whole new category is called property services, but 15.5 encompasses an owner occupied repair program serving families up to 120% of AMI, which is going to meet a really critical gap. And then a small rental repair program, I would say sort of akin to the vacant rental improvement program that BCNI is administering. But again, this has a little bit more flexibility as land bank funds tend to, and will allow us to serve some of the folks being missed by that program. And I've already had meetings with Habitat for Humanity in Schenectady, BCNI, and the City of Amsterdam. I have a meeting with the City of Schenectady tomorrow, and then we're going to do a joint meeting with Habitat Schenectady and Habitat Montgomery County to talk about this new round of funds and how best to allocate it to build on things that we've already done in partnership. So I'm starting to work out what that budget will look like, and I hope to have something to present to you all in the next month or two so that we're ready to apply.
Yeah, that would be great. I just want to reiterate, right, for our Amsterdam team, whatever we can do to get them to bring more to the table. As we talked to the mayor last month, I thought it was a very effective meeting. Let's, we can get more. We just gotta identify it. We've got momentum on our side.
There's also
Kathleen,
sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I see this as really supporting, I think what we've been thinking about and what the mayors have been thinking about, which is owner occupied housing. We want to build families and
right.
we need to get that, build that up, that step of the housing.
I think it's a great point, right? We've done affordable through big development and we've gotten units, right? Units have come into the municipalities that we've gone to, and there's 40 more, 100 more, 200 more. We've done habitats, the dollhouses, the sweat equity moments. Those are great. Now the owner occupied, I think, is the next tier that we can support and stabilize. And I think that's pretty smart to have this property services bucket in here that gives us that flexibility. I think that's a great program.
HCR surveyed all of the land banks across the state and asked, would you use a program like this? What are the things that you're missing? We got, a lot of good time with HCR folks at the New York Family Association conference. And I feel like they really listened about that missing middle, right? That group of people that needs support, but is so hard to support with the existing programs. And I think, we're going to be able to implement and release a lot of funds to do a lot of good
Well,
projects.
you demoed, you rebuilt, you established, but you got neighborhoods that have people in them. They live there. This is the home that I live in. How do I keep it and invest in it? Giving them the help to do that, I think creates more momentum within the fabric of the neighborhood. So great program. Thank you.
And everyone that I've met with, all of our partners are excited and getting their wheels spinning because they all have people who come to them and they can't help. And they have a list. So we're going to figure out how to help. Just quick project updates. Summit Ave, they're continuing to go on construction. They have offers on 4 homes. I believe as of yesterday, 1 is under contract. Habitat First Community Schenectady, we are inching towards a closing on Rankin. We've finally worked out all of the title issues, scheduled our closing tentatively for the 25th of this month. And then Landon Terrace, where they purchased 1 parcel from us and are purchasing another from the city for 2 homes. That is held up by announcement of CDBG and home funds, so they can't do anything until that award is made or not made, and then they can get going. Habitat Montgomery County had a great groundbreaking ceremony on the 1st of this month. It's well attended. Thank you, Bob, for joining me on that rainy day. And we're going to keep figuring out how to help build their capacity and keep the momentum going because people are pretty excited. Crossmod, I was circulating a hot off the press picture. I think it may not have gotten to Kathy down here, but they delivered the home yesterday. The setup team put together the 2 parts today, lifted the roof, sidewalks are getting poured. By next week, it'll look like something we can, put a family in. And
I went and personally walked it yesterday after hours, just wanted to go see what did it look like? Did they land it? Does the site look safe? It looked like they were doing a good job at grading. The garage was already up in terms of rough form. It's a modular home. I don't know what the roof line looks like. I took some pictures for a neighborhood integration reasons. I'm curious. You got a bunch of 2 families around it, 2-story homes, I should say, that are traditionally 2 families. Maybe a lot of them got converted to singles, right? But I'll be interested to see how that roof line ties out. Doesn't matter. I'm not super concerned that it might be a lot lower. I want to be aware of that it's a little different than all the other homes that are there.
so I think the charge for the pilot was find us a bunch of lots in a close proximity and we'll pick one.
Okay.
Now we're talking about the potential for scaling this up and doing more in the coming year. And so I pulled the list of city-owned lots. I have our summer intern going through Sims and pulling all of the lot dimensions, but also looking at street view of the character of the neighborhood. Where do we have more ranch style homes, more of those single level bungalows?
Yes.
I see these working really well potentially in Woodlawn, some sections of the north side. You're right, in between a bunch of 2 families, it doesn't totally look like it belongs there. But if you flip to the other side of the street, there are a couple of lower
They are.
homes. So I think in the grand scheme of things, and it'll be beautiful when it's finished, we're going to landscape and fence it. I think someone will be really happy to call it home.
I want to absolutely reinforce that we're putting a brand new home on a lot that's going to get graded. It's going to have a garage. It'll be, energy efficient-ish. It's energy efficient as the new modulars are being built. All for less than $230,000 or something like
I
that.
think all in costs, including a bunch of difficult site work, were around 260. And that's bells and whistles every year.
That's impossible these days, right?
It's very good.
Or very good, rather. It's not that it's impossible, but so 2 thumbs up.
And neighbors were coming out while it's being delivered. They're excited. They are happy with the site and how it's been kept. It's been the contractors. I can't sing their praises enough. They've really paid attention to that, and it's been nice. And we reached out ahead of time and sent letters to all the neighbors, letting them know what's happening. So people hopefully were prepared and felt like this was a neighborly move and not, hey, I woke up to 7 a.m. construction one day and I
Yeah.
didn't know. So
Well, thank you, as chairman of the board. I just want to say thanks for getting us engaged. I know they came to us and said, "Do you want to?" And we went, "Of course we do.
Yeah.
Let's do this." And then we found the site, we made it work. Thanks for the communication to the neighborhood. We don't want to show up with a hammer, so to speak. Great job. I'm looking forward to the finished product and a ribbon cutting where we can say, we're early adopters in this program. So again, goes right back to this, we're putting the capital in play and we're driving these models that the HCR thinks is going to be impactful in our community. So great job.
and then just last update, our Legacy City project in Amsterdam is continuing to move along. Construction is still scheduled to be done by the end of this summer. They have had a couple of snafus with, they received offers, pre-qualified folks, and then they're having a little bit of trouble with the mortgage underwriting. And so they're going back to kind of the drawing board and figuring out how do we communicate about the compliance piece of the subsidy and get lenders who are comfortable with that so that when somebody expresses interest, a buyer, they can direct them to a lender that's prepared. But things are still going well and Pam remains optimistic that they'll figure it out and get these things sold because they look great and the construction, like I said, is moving along well. So, and we're dispersing funds for their gap funding.
Kristen, what was the allocation on this? I know the one in Nancy was like 75, right?
Yes.
75. Was it the same dollar amount? I don't recall exactly the same dollar.
So
amount.
we actually received through our land bank grant contract, but sort of as a separate sub-program, we received 260,000, a commitment of 260,000 from HCR to do this project. So this is the land bank and the builder are working together on this. So it wasn't a grant that we gave, we received the 260. And then we're hoping to sell the home to a first-time home buyer, an eligible home buyer, somewhere between 70 and 90% AMI. And they'll be able to reinvest the sale into doing another project.
Roll it over.
Yep.
So the number is a little bit greater.
It is, yeah, all in, we're gonna be pretty close to that 260. But that's like, we're doing a really nice fence job because we had a neighbor who needed to take their fence out because it was over the line. So we're making some, we're doing some things that we might not have to do on all sites. And there was like a gnarly foundation in the ground that had to be moved and some others, just site work complications. The home and the initial site work quote came in somewhere in the ballpark of 235. So on a less complex site, we could put this down for even less.
Does it have a full cellar? Do they use a full cellar?
This is a crawl space. They can go on a basement. For the pilot, we were kind of asked not to go for bells and whistles that weren't absolutely necessary. One of the other bells and whistles I would have gone for is they do offer a slightly higher hitch on the roof that would help in between two families to get it a little bit of height.
The other thing I thought of, because it is a slab of a single course, could we do it as a, term probably better than I do, but can't you dig a partial basement, but then 4-course block it so that, instead of being on the ground, it's at the table height, right? You bring the whole thing up and that kind of can raise it up and you get a little bit of a.
Yeah, this will have a crawl
The
space.
crawl space, that'd be a crawl space.
So the
that's
crawl
enough
space is
room.
basically a frost.
Yeah, enough for the mechanic to get underneath there and make
Yeah,
repairs. That's
right.
what the crawl space. would be.
Okay.
And you can do a partial basement, you can do a full basement. Like I said,
Yeah.
the only reason that we didn't, number one, we kind of knew there was going to be a foundation in the ground.
So I made it more
But
complicated.
also they were really trying to just get proof of concept
Get it
that
out.
this was gonna
Get it out.
happen
Yeah.
at the price point they thought it was gonna happen. So,
It's like a test case and it's great, I think.
Richard, I didn't understand what you were saying. Partial.
Well, I think
cord
Rich was
wall
under
and
the
partial
impression that
block wall.
it was it was just a Alaskan slab, just a slab of concrete.
Yeah, the pictures I took show a slab
Right.
and literally a single course about this big, not even a full course block, but a
Right.
course this big.
Yeah.
you're saying they're gonna put another block there
Well,
probably?
so it must, if it's a crawl space, then it's gotta have more.
You can get
shipping
under
than
it.
that.
Yeah?
Because that's one of the
I
reasons
don't
we
know about
were,
me.
I
should
feel
be-
pretty confident I
Should
could
be
get under
3
there.
feet, like a
So,
crawl
yeah,
space is
that's-
usually 3 feet.
Okay,
That's a minimum of
Okay.
But I
3
think
feet,
they put
should
it on
be.
3 feet for.
But if you saw it and it was only a single block above the pad.
yeah, it wasn't on the ground yet, it still had its wheels on it, so, but I mean, I only saw the slab and a single
Great.
block, but it wasn't a
Yeah.
full block, so.
Yeah.
Okay, that being said, getting the pilot, getting proof of concept, getting it
Right.
connected
We're
and,
working on a
Yeah.
plan here.
So-
That's great.
So we're far enough along. Are we getting publicity on this pilot project?
Good question.
Acknowledgement that we're doing this for the public to see?
We're not, because there is a potential that the governor could come and do an announcement from the site of our cross mod about
There you go.
things to
Yeah,
come in
great.
that space.
Yeah.
And so while we work on the potential for that, we are keeping kind of the rest of
Low
it
profile.
low
Yeah.
profile.
So,
No, you answered me that you're working on
Yeah.
the thing. We're doing it, but you're waiting to see how
that's great. That's-
how high profile it actually is going to be.
Yes, so we are going to take some folks from HCR and a couple of folks from the governor's chamber through on Thursday at 1. I was gonna see if maybe you might be, I'm sorry, not 1, 11. So I was gonna see if maybe you might be, your eyes lit up at 11 and then, or at 1 and then
Yeah.
dimmed at 11, so.
Okay, I think,
But
let
we'll
me,
connect after
let me
and see
check,
if that
let me
works.
check, let me check.
But yeah, so we will do a big announcement once everything's landed. We're feeling like we really nailed this thing.
Okay,
And that's it. Unless there's
legacy,
questions.
thank you. Appreciate the update. Just a couple clarifying questions. Summit, under construction, how many units? 4?
There are 6 units down now. All of the foundations are dug, and I think the next set of homes comes like in the next month or so. So I think that's 6 more.
Okay, so under construction is 6, right? When you say down, that means they
Yeah,
can't.
They're modular, so they're,
Yeah, right. Closed units are none or 1? Did you?
I believe, not closed. I believe they have an offer on, they're under contract on 1, I
Okay,
believe. And they think they have maybe on.
right, because they're going through a whole
4,
financial
4, yeah.
literacy.
Yeah.
Financial literacy, adaptability, kind of, they're nurturing this through.
Yes,
This isn't, Joe, go buy a house. This is, let me help you to buy your first home, right?
this is a first-time home buyer, low, moderate income. There is a housing counseling piece. There's
Yeah,
the
housing
income
counseling.
qualification piece. So it is
Okay,
it's a long road to closing, longer than,
non-occupied, 6 under construction or landed, 1 under contract now. And we have a total of 19 that'll be done there,
probably 38,
30,
Are you
38,
kidding me?
38
Wow.
total units?
38 total units. So they're townhomes and they're like with a marriage wall. So they're.
Zero lot lines? Oh, zero.
Yeah,
zero,
yeah.
okay.
So each foundation has 2 townhomes on it essentially.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So when you say 6,
That's 3
12
foundations.
units, 12
No.
unit, 3 foundations.
3
Okay,
foundations,
gotcha.
6 units.
Okay, very good.
We're having indoor meeting.
Oh, I see. Good, sure, that's fine. Okay,
Are
and
we
then,
in trouble?
and then Legacy City. We have 19 total units that were rehabbed through the program. And we're down to what, the last 4 that are still kind of have under construction activities, 6 maybe?
No, I think it's 3, 3, maybe 4.
Okay,
They just closed out. We paid the final on Glen Ave. So I think it's Locust, Fairview.
and have they started to occupy? Does anyone know if they've started to occupy the other units?
They have sold and closed on
Yeah,
at least 1.
okay,
They had offers on all but 1. And a couple of those have had to go back to the drawing board in terms of financing. I don't know that they've totally fallen through, but they haven't gotten to the finish line because of that underwriting issue with the HCR has like a soft second mortgage that some underwriters are having trouble with.
Because they feel like they're not gonna be in first position.
potentially.
Oh, wow, okay.
So, yeah. So AIK is kind of working through that with their lender and with the folks at HDR to try to find and identify lenders who can get comfortable with it and really understand the program. So I talked to Pam yesterday and she felt pretty confident
Good.
that they were gonna.
It is clearly an education in itself
Yeah.
for both parties.
I think everybody involved learned a lot on this project.
Well, substantial impact to the city of Amsterdam, right? A little bit of pain. You know, Julia Street was a little bit of pain way back when.
Oh, geez.
Our very first project ever, right? Look
Yeah.
how far we've come, right?
So
So,
true.
Remember the cleanup at Julia Street? Oh, my.
well, you and DiCaprio remember it.
Yeah, we do.
A lot of miles on that.
Okay, very good.
But it was fun.
Blast from the past, Julia to Legacy City to onward and upward. Great. Any other questions on the executive director's report?
Yes, I've got, not really a question, but an observation. Since we have no idea what the federal administration is going to do, recommend in housing programs, they're concerned with kicking people out of the country more than anything else. Are we preparing? Because you made the comment that you've got projects that are waiting because of CDBG funds and home funds. Are we preparing if something severe all of a sudden happens as to how we can continue? The state's providing seems to be fairly steady. It's the federal that there's a question on.
So I will say that I think the length of the announcement process has to do with being very careful and particular about how the applications are taken, reviewed, awarded, and just making sure that given the state of things, there's nothing is in a gray area, nothing to raise red flags or give anybody, a feeling like they should be looking at or trying to, claw back funds. Because I think that that's what you're getting at, right? Like these grants that were canceled on other agencies and things of that nature.
They just announced today, I heard on the news, $9 billion in clawbacks. But didn't hear any detail on that type of thing. And there's the president's proposal. The House has already approved that and the Senate is discussing that. And they look like they're going to approve those clawbacks too. If you're not familiar with the law, if they've appropriated and awarded funds, if the president decides that he doesn't want to be able to continue with those for any reason, he has to present a clawback resolution to Congress, which has 45 days to agree with him or not to agree with him. And if they take no action, it's not agreeing with him, which means they can't claw back the funds.
What agency did you hear about?
It doesn't say it was $9 billion over the entire federal budget. And there's no specific announcement as to what it is.
That seems,
And I mean, this is all the result of actually, to go back history, this is all the result of what Nixon tried doing this in the 70s when I started working in this field, is that he simply announced that he was not going to spend the money, even if they had contracts out. And Congress then said, wait a minute, you can't do this type of thing. And they set up legislation that set a process for how a president can do it. And they're following this process. So it's nothing that's illegal,
Okay.
But it's a legitimate process. But he can all of a sudden come down at some point and say, I've decided we're not going to do any more housing. I mean, the emphasis right now we know is on education.
Yeah.
We're
So-
trying to abolish the education
so I think
department.
it's important for us as a board to maintain our focus on the mission at hand. The dollars that we have in front of us are the effectiveness that we can put into play with the dollars that we've already articulated. Your question is
Yeah,
valid.
my question
and,
is, because we have projects right now which are in a holding pattern because of solving some federal issues, not because of state issues.
Mhm.
And all I'm suggesting is that we make certain is that if those federal issues escalate, that we have a backup.
Yeah.
plan as to what we're going to be able to do so that we're not derailed.
Well,
Yeah, I think so. As not being the direct recipient of federal funds and the REIT grantor, I think that, as far as I can tell and understand, I think the city is taking as much precaution as they can to avoid that and to work within the known and understandable parameters. But yeah, I'm just not sure, short of a notice that this funding isn't happening. I'm not sure there's much that
Approximately how much of our budget is federally,
none of
None of
us.
We don't get any federal money.
the CDBG money.
The federal money comes in to the projects and we're supplementing. So the issue that we've got is if all of a sudden there's no federal money and that was necessary, a last in type activity, what's going to happen to the project? And all I'm suggesting is because of the uncertainty on the federal level that we have now, that we've seen in other areas besides this. And you're right, it's the city's thing, but we don't want the project to go under. And we should be looking at what type of thing, every project that will get federal funding, or supposedly getting federal funding, we should be asking the question, what happens if? And here's a partial solution that we know in advance, so that we don't get.
So I think you raised a good word of caution. I think that on the federals, if we have a project that has federal exposure, we should understand how we could backfill. And or does that add an element of risk that we would say, let's pause on that one so that we're not backfilling something that could drain activities from other projects. So I think you bring up a great point of awareness and again, a cautionary tale. And I think that we stay the course, not foolishly, not naively, not head in the sand, but we just are cognizant of where federal exposures could be. If I were trying to read tea leaves, and I don't know all the tea leaves, and I don't think any of us do, including the people making the decisions. Sometimes, maybe that's not a political comment. That's just my observation. Some things change on a very regular basis. Construction trades, housing in a community, those are all economic drivers. And those to me seem to be things that would be protected no matter who the administration was. The job, the trade, the activity, the supply chain, I think.
You're more optimistic than I am.
Well, fair enough. You've seen more.
Going after the education department, which is an economic driver, one of the biggest economic drivers that we have, and saying, the feds aren't going to deal with that anymore,
Yeah.
Makes it awfully scary as to what else they're going to go after.
Again, cautionary tale, and I appreciate your experience share. And I don't want to take us too far afield of what our mission is, but
No, it's not, and it's not doing far. It's making certain that we will be able to complete the mission if all of a sudden we have a major component of it, or even a minor component, depending on the project, suddenly vanishing.
I think we should just look at it across the bridge when we get to it. There's just no way we can make a provision in
No.
regards to what if.
But we can note that we've
It's
got,
there.
we do, as we said, is that there is a possibility that some of these projects may have a problem.
Yeah.
And since we're a funder, we're not the planner for these projects. It's the thing for us to be able to say to the people who are planning these projects, what happens? Do you have any contingencies as to what happens if this suddenly vanishes? You've given us in the plan that you expect to be able to get this amount of money from CDBG or from home. And so they're aware of that as to what they're telling us to be able to do.
as always, thank you. I appreciate again, I said it on purpose, the experience share.
I wouldn't have said anything about this if it hadn't been in the executive director's report that we've got a project that right now is partially in limbo because of the federal issues that are on that. There usually are to solve all of those things. It's just that raises a warning in my mind based on past history.
Well, let's see where we are 30 days from now, or I'm not sure if we're having a meeting in August, right? I don't know how much business we'll have, but let's see where we are a month out.
Yeah, well,
The process that the federal government has to follow, and maybe that will be navigated to the benefit of the American public. Okay, we have 2, 4, 5, count Richard, 5 resolutions for board consideration tonight. And I think maybe one small piece of new business, Van Franken, is that new business? That's really old business.
Yeah.
5 resolutions. Let's focus on those. Okay,
The first two are very much related. So last month, we approved the general project plan for the summer 2025 demolition. As part of that initial bid package, there was a property which we did not award because there were concerns about structural issues. We had a structural assessment done. It was recommended that we not abate and do a controlled demolition. And so resolution 2025-13 just amends the project plan to add 723 Congress Street. And resolution 2025-14 is to award the contract for that demolition to Dan's Demo and Hauling. We did seek 3 quotes for that in line with our procurement policy. We received 3 bids and Dan's was the lowest at $45,000. So that's the summary of those 2 resolutions together because they're very much related.
is Dan, I should know the answer. I apologize. Dan is the awardee on the other 9 properties.
It is not. So that's
Okay.
why I did the separate resolution
Yeah,
so that it was
okay.
really clear.
Thanks for the clarification. Thank you. Okay. Very good. So resolution 2025-13. Any questions?
Move the resolution.
A second. Thank you. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Those opposed, nay.
Aye.
The resolution is carried. Resolution 2025-14, which is the award to Dan's Demolition and Hauling. Any questions?
No, so move.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Those opposed, nay.
Aye.
The motion is moved. The resolution is passed. Okay, resolution 2025-15, that is a resolution to sell 123 Congress Street,
Prospect Street.
Prospect Street, sorry, thank you.
Okay, we're doing work in both.
That's right.
Um,
Kristen, thank you.
absolutely. Prospect Street is a property that we demolished a home there in 2016. We had an offer from the neighbor in the adjoining parcel to purchase the property for $2,000. That contract for sale never went through. At some point, their tenant erected a fence on the property. So we attempted to move that sale forward unsuccessfully. Then we issued a legal notice to the tenant and the homeowner to remove the fence. In the process of doing all of this, the neighbor across the street expressed interest in purchasing the parcel for $2,000. And so this resolution recommends that we sell that parcel on 2 contingencies. One, that the encroaching fence is removed prior to closing. And the second is that within 12 months of the purchase, that the new owner repairs and replaces the sidewalks on the property, which needs to be done. And we've not been able to because of the fence.
So a little bit of complexity, not really. It's a side lot, but the fence was what bothered me. And I wanted to make sure that did not encumber the closing transaction. Kathy had a question.
Yeah, is the person who's purchasing the vacant lot, is their home across the street or adjacent to?
It's across the street, so they won't be able to consolidate them into.
It's a weird purchase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have a feel like how it will look.
Or what is the plan for this empty lot?
Yes, so they will pave a portion of like the front third for parking. The back will remain grass. Steve has been talking to the interested party about this and has kind of let him know about needing a paving permit, looking at the zoning and the lot coverage requirements. And so he's been kind of educating him about this so that it ideally
Single
will
car
look.
drive, double car drive.
So it won't be like a full driveway, like the whole depth of the yard. I think he's planning like 2 parking spaces at the front yard behind.
And is there a curb cut or
There is an existing.
there's an existing
Yeah,
curb
there's an
cut there.
existing.
So he has a way, he doesn't have to jump a curb in order to get to this.
Yes,
So the curb cut came from the fact that there was a property there, right?
Yes.
There was a parcel there,
I
right?
see, okay,
There was a home
which-
there.
yeah.
And the reason that we were never able to repair the sidewalks is because the neighbor who put the encroaching fence up was also parking large vehicles. There were 2 trucks there at all times. So it's already been a parking space. This will be an improved parking space. And it's tucked away. It's not, it's a side street, not like a main corridor. I think, I don't think it will diminish the character of the neighborhood significantly by any means.
It's not a full regreening. It's not a picket fence garden. It is a use. Maybe it drops density on the street face. And it's actually now a sale of the parcel. It's been a while.
Should also point out that by current standards, the lot is not buildable.
Yeah.
I did attempt to see if there was any way that we could put a home there, and there's not.
What makes it unbuildable?
It does not meet the square footage requirements that are currently constitute a buildable lot. So it has to be a minimum of 5,000 square feet, and this is not.
It's a depth issue.
Yeah, it's pretty narrow too. The house that was on it,
It's
was-
narrow. It's not that-
teeny.
it's narrow.
it was like a very, very small house, like 900 square feet. So
Hey, I live in-
I live in 1,000, so
You said what you've told us within 12 months. That's not reflected in the memo or the resolution.
Where
Is that in the contract that you're doing?
it'll be listed in the purchase sale. Yes.
Very good. We don't need it in the other. That was my question, that we didn't have a time frame on it.
I just got the purchase sale contract draft
Okay.
today, which is why it wasn't
Very good.
specifically called out.
But we've taken care of that. We don't need to specify it.
Sounds like this guy's just looking for some more parking for his
Yeah.
vehicles or something.
Prospect's pretty tight up there,
Yeah.
right? I get it. And again, I think it's just
Get his car off the street or
a
something.
transfer, it gets it into an ownership versus the tenant of a guy put a fence up. I think I'll just do this. And it's like,
And apparently it's parking large vehicles.
And I think.
And a dog, yeah.
There was a dog. There were a lot of liability concerns
Yeah.
with the current situation, and
Yeah.
so we moved to address those. But this sale happened to come about because Steve was there talking with the tenant of the adjoining house, who had expressed interest, but then couldn't pull together an offer. And the owner who is proposing to purchase it, their home is, in compliance with codes. It's up to date on taxes, no issues with that.
We have a motion, a second.
Second.
All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. We will sell the property to them.
I
Thank you.
completely missed who made the motion.
I made the motion.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Sorry about that.
Seconded it.
Okay, resolution 2025-16. This is our phase 1, round 4 funding. This is the application to accept. Kristen, can you summarize?
Yes, so this is Land Bank Initiative operating funds. This is what helps underwrite our management agreement with Metroplex and with Orion Management out in Amsterdam. Helps to defray the cost of our legal property management, our property maintenance. And so the maximum award is $200,000 annually. We received $200,000 this last round, and we were encouraged to apply for the same. And so the budget is on the second page of that memo. Most of it is contracted professional services for staffing.
So essentially, we're in the same window as we were last.
Correct.
Yeah, and it's nice that, and then the administrative cost, insurance, audit, et cetera, are covered. So it's a nice, it's a great program.
Move the resolution.
Second.
All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
I did have a question.
Oh, Kathy, I didn't look up. I apologize.
That's okay.
Before we move the motion, we have a question from the board member.
Fully in support of it, just curious where it fits in, is it says that this supports the relationship with B&I and other. So where is that in here?
So potentially when we move to do our homeowner repair and rental repair, we're going to be looking for a partner to help us administer that. And so that would be part of these contracted staff.
So it's in the contract and
Yes.
staff.
Yeah, because if you break that out, that's,
Yeah, it just it just said Metroplex and Orient, so I.
Yeah. okay, we had a motion and a second. Can we just do that again? Can I get a motion?
You've got the motion.
I did, okay, I don't know what it was. Okay, great. All those in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Thank you for the redo. The resolution is approved. The motion passes. Last resolution for our consideration, 2025-17, is a listing for 821 Congress Street. This is the crosswalk.
Yes.
Kristen?
So in order to help us expedite the sale of this, knowing that there's been very little marketing and or PR of the project leading up to, we had initially and are still working with BCNI to help with the qualification and the education of the potential homeowners. But we asked them, do you have a list of folks who would qualify for this and meet the income band? And they indicated that they really didn't. And so we're looking to engage a listing agent from Berkshire Hathaway so that we can put the property on the MLS and get a little bit of a wider reach to help us to achieve the goals of our marketing plan for the property and to make sure that we can hopefully get a homeowner in there pretty quickly after construction. So we did receive 3 quotes, and the agent from Berkshire Hathaway came in at the lowest at 5% commission. So this is a authorization to enter into a listing agreement with Berkshire Hathaway.
What was the highest?
6.5. They were within a pretty tight.
Is that,
But that's a lot when you're talking that kind of money.
Yeah.
and is that, I thought 6 was a,
7, yeah.
7 now?
No, now. There is realtors that are capped at 7.
Yeah.
So it's not unusual.
is that the highest commission that you can charge?
I'm not sure if it's a legal.
Oh, yeah, I actually thought there was a capping on commissions in a purchase of a buyer seller agreement in a real estate transaction. I thought it was 6, but okay, 7.
Yeah, it is 7.
Gotcha.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but right?
Yeah, that's from my understanding. It's been 7% at times, but of course, it's always, you can see it's negotiable.
Yeah, sure.
People do for less. So
Yep.
5% is good. I
Yeah.
think it's good.
Reasonable and good.
Do I assume that the BNI does not have qualified buyers because their usual cap is 80% rather than the 90%?
Yes, so their cap's typically 80%, but also they mentioned to us that most of the folks who come through their housing counseling are closer to that 50%.
Yeah, I was thinking that's the only reason that they don't have people for it, is that's not what they're geared up to do. That's not where they get the counseling money to be able to help. And that's what that new program may be doing.
Yeah.
You were talking about
Yes.
going up to the 120%. So this seems to me to be very logical. We don't have any prospective purchasers at this point, or even a list of them.
So enlisting isn't necessarily marketing. This isn't about pressing. This is about marketing and having someone so we can have a
Mhm.
family at that
Yep.
ribbon cutting as well.
Yes.
Great. A motion.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The resolution, motion is passed, the resolution carries. And that is all I have
Okay,
for tonight.
I don't have any new business. If anybody else doesn't.
I was just simply to give some quick update on Van Branken. This is a project that's been in process for now going on almost 2 years. We were there for the demo, and we've given a lot of leeway to timing, to design change, financing, and those activities are still in process. The design has changed from kind of a mixed use high density to multiple side-by-side townhouses. The developer has proposed that approach, 10 individual units. We like it. It's a beautiful view, individual driveways, interesting, completely different than what we've seen in the north side before, I think, in terms of that footprint. Pricing in terms of what the developer thinks they need to get to in order to have a healthy project / ability to complete the project is a little over 300,000 per unit. And my initial gut reaction was, wow, that's a lot of money on Van Rankin for a. I feel like that's a high number. I should say the words carefully. I feel like that's a pretty high number to have a townhouse on Van Rankin. But the area comp seem to support most of that. But I've asked staff to take a look. I've asked Kristen to dive deeper into, are all the finances in place? Give me the finals on the design before we present it to this board again for consideration. Part of the consideration might be we can do a pilot that is similar to other pilots that we've done in like Live-in Schenectady, things like that. There's a few things that we could do to maybe help that along. I think it's really important that we do help a project, this project or a project, to succeed in that space. I think it's important for us in the north side that live there, you and I both live there, to not have that be a vacant lot for another 2 years. And it's not about the timing, it's more about that vacant lot, is buildable. And I think it's important to do something there.
Project is supposed to be on the planning commission agenda for site plan approval, which will get us one step closer. Once that happens, I've asked the developer to come back in and meet with me to talk about the financing piece and the sale price point. So we'll be moving towards some sort of an actionable item for the board, probably by our next.
The
meeting.
one thing I'd like to seed plant with the board is it's 10 units. If we were to successfully build 10 units of density that would meet an AMI goal, we could successfully potentially hit our target for the next round in one fell swoop. So, in one project, we would already hit the targets that Housing Community Renewal is looking for, I think, in the next round of funding.
Because there are no other HCR sources. So this isn't layering in like an AHOP or a home program where the unit count would go to that program because they tend to have a higher proportion. So this would count towards our generating units.
And one of the things that HCR said in the last land bank regional meeting was, we'd like to see organic funding, not relying on us all the time to come to the table as first money in, mid money in, last money in, right? Find other funds to be programmatically, land bank, keep digging for more. This could actually do that. So I'm pitching only an awareness so that we are aware of this as a possibility that we might be able to navigate. And I think it's a pretty big lift to get 10 units of non-funded of a project that might not need an HCR helping hand. And I think that's a win.
Well,
For
we're
this
not
one.
lapsing on our density. In
No.
regards to.
Nope. No, but the new program requirements are looking for,
It's gonna put us over the threshold.
and they're saying, find projects that don't have an HCR funding, majority funding stream in them. Am I saying that right?
Yes, so for example, Summit Avenue, it's 38 units. There's a bunch of land bank money in it, but all 38 of those units are counted towards AHOP generating units, and land bank is coming out with 0. So we are specifically looking to prioritize projects where those unit counts will be attributed solely to land bank initiative funds. So
And
this could.
describe for me what one of these, do you have it? Is there even a close as far as the design of one of these units, like 4
I
bedroom?
can share some information with folks, but they're 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 13 to 1400 square feet
With a garage or?
with a garage.
A single garage,
Single
a
stall
single
garage.
driveway.
Yeah.
And look to the western gateway. That's probably one of the best in Schenectady, I would think.
Yeah.
Maybe besides living. on
Prime
one of the-
firework watching spot.
Oh, yeah, sure. And legal fireworks,
Yes, the professional ones from the harbor.
cafe.
Do you feel, having seen the design and coming from the north side, that you feel that it fits the fabric of what is in the neighborhood?
Van Branken is similar to what we see on Congress Street, two families,
Yeah.
large two families. Bulked up, to absorb, the turn of the century, 1900s, 10 people families. It'd be different. It'd be similar to, I think, Northside Village in its townhouse.
They are two-story. but the
They
plan
are
is-
2-story.
Okay,
So they're not little dollhouses, but they wouldn't look like right across the street is that elevation.
yeah,
What are they? 1,800 square foot, two families that are 29 feet to the peak. They're, geez,
But they'll
Or
look
more.
up for
or
it
more.
with a conceptual plan, and the planning board is
Yes.
what looks on it. So maybe we should consider giving a recommend. Can we give a recommendation to the planning board?
They've been working with planning staff and the planning staff is much more comfortable with the current iteration. There have been a lot of, even since the townhouse concept, there have been a lot of kind of back and forth and changes. And so I think they're working pretty closely with the planning staff to make sure that they're as much as possible kind of meeting the character of the neighborhood.
Yeah, one big block building, while initially I thought, oh, good idea, seems to be institutional and the wrong feel, the wrong fabric enhancement, a detriment potentially. And so this definitely creates 10 units, 10 ownership, 10, but it's not, it's not 65% AMI stuff. It's definitely market rate. Kind of like that for the north side to say there's value here. And I will say that, there's a dozen houses on Van Franken that have had full, remodels, full families have stepped in and invested. The window, the siding, the bright work, the driveway, the garage, everything, they painted the banister and put, shade up. So there's an investment there. And I think this is an investment in that corridor. But the corridor is worthy of the investment. And I'm interested to see if we can get there. I feel like the entry point in pricing, I feel like might be just a little higher than I'd like to see them get sold pretty quickly, right? Live in Schenectady had, a bunch of parcels and they built about half of them and building the rest, but that's about an 8-year process, 10-year process. We don't want that. I'd like to see the project, be done in 24 months or less, right? Won't take that long to build those.
They'll be modular too, so.
Which,
And who knows, this could spark something else.
absolutely.
That corridor needs a spark and.
Yeah. It'd be the biggest investment. I mean, outside of obviously Northside Village, which was a huge $80 million project it's beautiful. But this is private development. So anyways, again, my position was simply identifying, communicating, awareness, consensus building around. I think there's something that we need to do here and it might require a little help. So, and I think we get a win out of it that is not simply a check mark. It's 10 units of non-HCR. They came, they said, can you do? And once again, I'm very interested in our land bank performance envelope. And we have done an amazing job for 10 plus years. So, okay, that was just my little bit of update on all business.
One other quick announcement, if
No.
you have not done so, please register for AVO training. The next 2 available dates are August 13th and August 27th. I will
Please.
circulate that by email too.
You
but
know who
just
you are. I
jot that
don't,
down.
but please do.
Did mine ever come through? Did it ever show up?
It didn't. So
didn't.
if you have your confirmation, your registration email, I
Yeah.
can try to reach out and get their,
Okay, see what happened.
have them send me the certificate.
Okay.
Okay.
I will confirm, but I'm almost.
We had another item on old business that we've not resolved, and that's our membership. I was on a previous minutes that we were supposed to have an update on those people who,
Acted upon until we are in our roles until acted upon by the.
yes, that's right. But the question is, there were people whose terms have expired and what's been happening There was supposed to be a report on that several months ago. Do we know where that
We
is?
have had some conversations about that with the appointing bodies. I have not heard anything concrete about any proposed resolution to make an official reappointment. So I can continue to work on that.
Thank you. Okay, that's all I have. There's no other questions. I will adjourn. I want to thank everyone again for coming out. Appreciate your time as always. And if we can avoid an August meeting, we will.